A little birdie told me that you were going to be going out on a trip. Hey, Judy, where are you planning to go? Come on, tell me.
Good evening, Rosanna. Did you perhaps hear about it from some of the other women at the kids' bus stop? I guess gossip does tend to spread while we're waiting for them to arrive.
Yes, that's right.
Of course, you would hear about it.
Come on, there's no need for that sulky attitude. So, you're going to be going with Melissa and Lisa, right?
Well, yes, sort of.
Then you just have to let me come along too.
I'm sorry.
I've always wanted to go on a trip with some of the other moms. I've been hoping to do something like that for ages now.
Look, I don't really know how to put this gently, but we didn't invite you. Sorry.
What do you mean?
Look, we've already planned everything out for our whole group.
What? It wouldn't be that hard to add one more person to the trip, would it?
I'm really sorry, but it actually would. All of our reservations have already been made with our specific group. And we can't just add people on a whim. I'm sorry, but you just can't come.
Really?
Look, this isn't meant to just be some fun group outing to begin with.
So you're saying to just let it go then?
When we actually are just doing something for fun, I'll invite you. I promise. Could you please just stop asking about it?
Oh, come on. I'm part of the group too, aren't I? Why do I have to be excluded from this? Do you really think I'd just be fine with being left out of the loop and then being told to shut up when I finally find out?
No, like I said, this isn't a trip we're going on for fun, so we're not trying to exclude you from anything.
Well, if you aren't trying to exclude me, then you should have no problem with letting me come along.
No, like I said, this isn't a trip we're going on for fun, so we're not trying. I don't seriously, what are you talking about? Have you not understood a word I've said?
Once you've got the date and details hammered out, be sure to let me know, okay? And since I'll be coming along, you can just leave the details of the trip to me. It'll be my treat.
No. I told you before, we've basically planned everything out already.
Nope, that just won't do at all. Well, then, it's decided. This will be a fun trip for all the local moms, and I'll take charge of everything.
You really haven't paid any attention at all, have you? I've already said that this isn't some trip we're doing for fun.
You can handle all of the other work, right? Right. I'll leave that other stuff to you.
What are you even saying anymore? Do you really think I would agree to something so utterly vague?
Do you really think it's okay to be talking to me like that?
And what of it? It's not like you've been listening to a thing I say anyway.
Well, I know that your husband and mine both work at the same company, but your husband is my husband's subordinate, right?
Oh, is that so? I'm afraid I just don't remember.
What? You mean you didn't know?
I mean, whether I knew or not doesn't really matter, so
Right. Well, you know now, and that's what matters. If you try to stab me in the back about this, I'll be sure to say something to my husband about it.
I'm sorry. What?
Well, I'll be leaving all of the preparations to you.
Are you seriously just only hearing what you want to hear?
Oh, I'm so looking forward to it.
Hold on, Rosanna. I hope you realize I haven't agreed to any of this.
Hey, Judy, is now a good time?
Yeah, I'm free right now. What is it?
Well, I wanted to apologize.
Apologize? About what?
Well, it's about Rosanna. I just got off the phone with her, and she was really angry. She was shouting at me for a while, actually. It sounds like my son John told her son about our trip. The day we were leaving, the bed and breakfast, everything.
Oh no.
Apparently, her son stole one of John's favorite toys and gave him an ultimatum. Either John told him everything he knew about the trip, or he would break the toy and throw out the pieces. That's what John said anyway.
I don't believe this. I can't believe Rosanna would go so far as to rope her son into her scheming, having him threaten to break another kid's toys. What's wrong with her? Well, I think it's safe to say that Judy put her son up to it at least. I don't see why he would have asked for that info otherwise. Is John okay?
Yes, he's fine now. Rosanna's son kept his word and returned the toy, thankfully. I agree, though, Rosanna has to be the one who made her son do it. I feel like I've heard similar stories in the past, too.
Honestly, what in the world does she think she's doing? Making her son do these things? Does she think he's her personal thug or something? I feel bad for him. I hope that he doesn't end up with all the kids hating him, or worse, that he actually starts wanting to pick on other kids for fun.
Yeah, I don't think Rosanna even cares what her son thinks about the whole thing, let alone what this is doing to him. Anyway, I'm sorry that the plans got leaked.
No, don't worry about it. There's nothing for you to apologize for, but we definitely have a problem now.
Yeah, I know. That woman has always been trouble. She just thinks she can invite herself along on whatever excursion someone else is going on. I heard that a while ago a local family was planning a trip and she just invited herself along, trying to change their plans to center around her. It was a mess.
No way. Are you serious?
That's not all, actually. Apparently, the day of the trip, the dad of the family caught a fever, so the trip got canceled entirely. Not knowing that, Rosanna and her family just went to the intended trip destination anyway. When she learned that the hotel reservations were canceled, she flew into a rage. She completely went off at the poor family about how they tricked her and that they should pay for her gas that she wasted and other such things.
That's utterly deplorable.
Well, she seems to be up to her pig-headed ways again with us. I've got a feeling this is just a strategy of hers to get free trips out of people. Invite herself along, then demand she be compensated for being tricked or something.
Seriously? Well, I guess I wouldn't put it past her. Her husband seems about as dramatic as she is too, so I think it's safe to assume that the whole family's going to try to come along with us.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, I've got an idea. Let's get in touch with Lisa and see if we can think up some countermeasures so she doesn't ruin the trip.
Sounds good to me. I'm in. Sorry about all of this. It really turned into a much bigger deal than I had expected.
Again, you don't need to apologize. First, you're not in the wrong here. Rosanna is. Second, this all started when I brought it up to you and Lisa at the bus stop anyway. Okay, I'm going to text Lisa and let's see if we can meet up and plan things out.
Roger.
Hey, Judy, I've got an update I need to let you know about.
What is it?
Tomorrow's meeting time has changed.
Tomorrow?
Well, we talked about how we were going to depart at 7, but the time's been changed to 9.
I'm sorry. When did we ever talk about this?
Well, that's all I needed to tell you. See you tomorrow. Why didn't you come meet up with us?
Good morning, Rosanna. What are you talking about?
I told you already. We were planning to meet up at 7, remember? Don't tell me you aren't coming simply because you mistook the time. And not just you, Melissa and Lisa didn't arrive either. Well, I certainly wasn't going to go on a trip on my own, so I invited some family along. It's fine. You don't need to try to find some other way here.
Yes, I see.
It wasn't easy getting all of our transportation lined up. I hope you know I'll be expecting you to pay for the gas and other fees. Do you understand me?
Well, if I'm understanding things correctly, you're the one who told us the meeting time was at 9, right?
Well, sometime after that, the time got changed again. How strange. I was so sure I had called you about that. Well, it's your fault that you didn't come on time, not mine. My family and I will happily enjoy this trip without you, okay? Answer the phone, Judy. I know you're there. Don't you dare try to just ignore me.
What is it now, Rosanna?
We arrived at the bed and breakfast and were going to check in, only for us to be told that the party with the reservation had checked in already. What are you thinking, trying to steal our vacation from us? If you're already here, then hurry up and get out.
Sorry, we're out sightseeing at the moment, so I'm afraid. It would be pretty difficult to do that even if we wanted to. By the way, what are you even talking about anyway? You accused me of trying to steal your vacation? Did you somehow forget that that's exactly what you were trying to do to us in the first place?
What are you talking about? It's your fault that you didn't arrive at the time we agreed on.
Well, considering we never agreed on anything in the first place, I'd say. That's not much of an argument, but that's not even the issue here. I'm talking about what you've been trying to do from the very beginning, not just your scheming yesterday to screw us over. I had never invited you on the trip to begin with. I actually flat out refused your selfish request to join in. Or did you somehow forget?
But that's not how it ended up. I ended up being a part of the trip.
That's not how group planning works, Rosanna. You can just say you're coming on a trip without being invited, then start trying to push everyone around. All you did was try to force us to do what you wanted and follow your plans.
You're the one at fault for excluding me. So, to punish you for your impoliteness, we are going to have you pay for our lodgings.
So let me get this straight. Are you intending to stay overnight at my parents' house or something?
I'm sorry? What do you mean by that?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You never actually pay attention to anything I say. Would it be easier if I wrote it in all caps for you?
I can read what you write normally. Stop that! Still, what do you mean your parents' house?
The bed and breakfast you're trying to check in at? Do you notice how it looks more like a big house, not some high-rise hotel? That's because it is first and foremost a house. My parents' house, to be exact, with all the websites for people who want to turn their homes into. Been popping up, my parents decided they'd do the same. With the location as good as it is, it's gotten pretty popular too. My parents manage the whole thing. And on top of that, this trip isn't just some leisure trip for local moms. As I've told you a number of times already,
Don't try to pass it off as something else. Melissa and Lisa came with you, didn't they? What makes this trip so different? You even said you were sightseeing. Any way you look at it, this is just a fun trip between friends, a trip you wanted to exclude me from.
if you're still thinking that, then you should actually pay some attention for once in your life and actually let me finish explaining. Melissa is my husband's cousin. Lisa is my husband's sister. Does that give you a hint as to who this trip is for? Or are you just going to ignore it like you ignored everything else?
You're all related.
This trip is because my husband's grandpa is turning 80. He wanted to make it a special occasion, so he invited all of our relatives. That's why our bed and breakfast is completely booked until tomorrow. It's family only, and all of the rooms were filled in advance. You couldn't even hope to make reservations yourself, and you certainly wouldn't be able to just walk in and get a room.
You're serious? That's what this was all about.
That's why I told you from the start that you weren't invited. I told you to stop asking about it, but of course, you didn't listen to me. So here we are.
Well, if it's your family, then get them to open up a room for us.
No. Even if I inexplicably forgot about everything and suddenly wanted you to come along, it would be impossible. This is why I refused your request from the beginning. You're the one who just kept stubbornly forcing yourself into the planning. This is all on you.
Do you really think it's fine to be saying things like that to me? How dare you?
Oh, and here we go with this again.
I told you before, my husband is your husband's boss, or did you forget? It would be such a tragedy if your husband found himself first in line to be laid off, don't you think?
What is wrong with you? Why would you even threaten something like that?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just reminding you that the world is governed by survival of the fittest. That's all.
I see what you're getting at. Well, let me reply to you using that line of thinking, and maybe you'll actually understand.
Okay, I'll humor you. What sort of snippy remark do you have for me?
My husband's grandfather. Hmm. He's the chairman of the board of directors of your husband's company. Did you know that?
He is?
Oh, and incidentally, the president of the company? That's my husband's father.
Are you serious? They're the chairman of the board and the president of the company? You're just trying to scare me, right? You're not actually telling the truth here, right?
Well, they're both here at this family gathering too, obviously. They're also looking at this conversation we're having too.
No, you're lying. No way. You can't.
You never really know the social standing of everyone around you just at a glance, do you? I think you might do better if you didn't try to swing your husband's influence around like a club to try to get what you want. You never know when they might swing back harder.
So, you're saying it's all true? The highest people in my husband's company are your in-laws?
Well, we need to get going to the next spot on our trip, so I'm heading off.
Please, wait. I'm begging you. We're in hot water over here. Our relatives are all criticizing my husband and me, asking what's going on and what's going to happen to them. They say they're going to disown us. No, wait, they're already leaving. Isn't there something you can do?
I don't think so. That sounds like a family problem, and I'm not about to force myself into family matters like some other person I know. I certainly wouldn't go putting my neck on the line for someone who uses her family as weapons to get what she wants.
Weapons? What are you talking about?
Oh, before I forget, before we get back to the house, please be sure to vacate the premises, or else we might need to call the police. So I'm just going to put this out there first, but I may have pointed out how my in laws have powerful positions in the company. But that doesn't mean they were going to use their influence against Rosanna's husband. The following day, they just called him in to warn him about how his wife was acting. They also told him that any baseless attempts to discredit his subordinates would not be tolerated, just to be safe, even though her husband wasn't directly punished for what she did. The plan still was successful in changing Rosanna's behavior. Ever since that day, she's been much quieter and hasn't been butting into the affairs of others. As for her husband, even though he was let off the hook, it seems like the incident hurt his pride so much that he didn't even come into work for days. On top of that, it was discovered he had violated company policy multiple times. Hmm. So he ended up getting demoted along with a big pay cut. Things just got worse from there, and he eventually got fired entirely. Thanks to that, he and Rosanna got into a huge fight at home, and they eventually got divorced. I can't say I had any idea what was going on in their house, given everything that happened. But at least for us, things have finally quieted down for the first time in a long time.